Hey, everybody, it is Ellen Lewis, and I am from Crazy for You. And I have these earphones in my ear, and they're making me crazy because I have a fun surprise tonight. Let me back up a minute, okay? So, um, Ellen Lewis, Crazy for You, and tonight I want to share with you a brand new yarn from Queen City. It is absolutely beautiful. And I'll tell you why I had the earphones in my ears because a couple weeks ago, so before I went on vacation, I did a really great interview with Queen City Yarns, Janice Ficker, who is amazing. And she's been absolutely wonderful. And I wanted to do a recorded interview with her so that we could chat. And so I went to post it, and I'll tell you what happened. It sounded like I was standing in a well. And this happens sometimes um, when my microphone gets caught and it's sort of weird. So you've heard this, you've seen it happen with me, and I always have to check: am I using the right microphone? Because the other microphone sounds really bad. Anyway, this great interview that I did with Janice, and my microphone was all messed up. Like I said, it sounded like I was standing in a well. So I reached out to Janice today, just kind of at the last minute, and she was gracious enough to say that she would pop on tonight. So I'm very excited about that. So, anyway, that's why I had the earbuds in. And it looks like she just actually got here. So let me, yay. Hey, Sandy. Hey, Jal. Hey, Polly. Nice to see you guys. I am good. Yes. All right. So it is going to be us. Let's see. Let me take this out. Yes. Hey, Janice.
Hi.
It's so nice to see you.
It's good to see you. I'm
And
actually at knit night myself.
are you? Oh, that's fun.
I am. So I snuck outside here with my Siltzer to hang out for a little bit. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So let me just run through what I wanted to share with everybody real quick about this yarn, because let me just tell you, guys and Janice, this might be my new favorite yarn. I
Don't tell
mean,
Coleman. Don't tell Coleman.
okay, my new favorite winter yarn. Okay, I know we're not allowed to have favorites. I have 4 kids. I have no favorites. But they all have their own special gift, and they bring their own special gift to the table. So let's back up and let's talk about what this yarn is. So this yarn is called Latta. It is a sport weight. You call it a sport weight. We're going to
Yep.
talk about that. And I spent all afternoon swatching this yarn. I should have done it a while ago, but guess who forgot to take her knitting with her on vacation? So I had nothing at all to bring with me. But sport weight yarn, 100% wool. It's merino and rambouillet blend, all made in America, right? Yep.
Yep.
Um, it is absolutely beautiful. So let me put this up. Okay, so this is a picture. So this is a picture of the yarn that you sent me, right? And I just want to show everybody what it looks like close up. So can you see how beautiful and round this yarn is? Janice, do you want to talk about this a minute? This is a 3-ply, right?
It is a
3-ply yarn.
3-ply. Yes. It is a 3-ply. And the roundness is probably what sold me on this yarn. We talk about this a little bit in the interview, but we kind of auditioned several different potential bases. And this one, it's just so round. And because it's so round, it takes the dye um, in a really great way. It blooms beautifully.
Yes.
When I get the skeins from the mill, it's really not attractive. Like, it really isn't. And I said that to the mill, and she's like, yeah, but then when you wash it. So when
Right.
we soak it to dye it, it blooms. When we dye it, it blooms again. And then when you knit with it and block it, it's going to bloom even more. It is just so round
Right.
and squishy. I absolutely love how round this is, which makes it great for color work, but also makes it great for texture.
So let me just share real quick with everybody. Like I said, I spent the afternoon swatching this. I'm going to make this full screen. So this is not right now. This is a picture of the yarn that I swatched at a variety of gauges. So the first thing I did was to cast on, I'm going to mute that real quick. So the first thing I did was to cast on a bunch of stitches on a really small needle. And this is it. Now this piece is unblocked, and I will show you in a minute how it looks after it's been blocked. But here it is on a real small needle at a gauge of 6.5 stitches to the inch, right? Let me just make sure my audio is right. Okay. Yes. Okay. Um, and then I moved up 2 needle sizes, and this is it at 5 3/4. Okay, and then this is it at just about dead on 5 stitches to the inch, and here it is at 4.5. So honestly, I think it looks great at both, right?
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I'm really excited about with this yarn is because of the way it knits up, because of the sport size, you can knit at fingering weight gauges or DK if you can't find a sport weight pattern that you love.
Yeah,
It's
for
really
sure.
it's really going to be versatile for lots of pattern ideas.
Well, that's why I wanted to sort of swatch it at the different gauges, because I mean, and everybody's gauge is different. Everybody uses the different size needle to get a different gauge. But for me, I just grabbed the smallest needle that I had lying around, and that was a US 2. And I knit this bit of it on a US 2, and that's what gave me 6.5 stitches, which is a solid. I mean, that's a solid sport fingering, heavy fingering weight
Mm-hmm.
gauge, right?
Yep. Yep.
You know, and I mean, honestly, I think it looks beautiful at every single one of these gauges. If you look at the picture from before, you can see that, at the largest gauge right here, it's kind of loose. Let me see. I'm going to get bigger in there. I guess that's as big as I can. No, it isn't. Okay. So it looks a little loose right here at 4.5. But then I took this little swatch upstairs and I gave it a steam bath, and it was amazing. So here it is steamed. This is real life. This is it at that loose gauge. Look how it blooms.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have any of that kind of loose openness, even at a gauge that's really pushing it, don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to it's it's gonna just it drapes really beautifully at all gauges, but the looser the gauge, the more it's going to drape. I will
Hmm.
caution you, the looser the gauge, the more apt you are to get pilling.
Of course,
Uh,
as with
but
any yarn.
but it's wool. Wool is supposed to pill. That's what it does. Um, yeah. I don't know if we talked about this during our interview, but I really see texture kind of being the next mohair, the next thing. And I think this is going to do really, really well with all those textured patterns.
It does have a really incredible stitch definition.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you look at this piece, I'm just going to give it its own little. I mean, here it is. I always put a little garter ridge in between my. Look how balanced. Okay. The stitches are just so pretty and balanced, and that little garter bit on there,
Mm-hmm.
beautiful.
Yeah,
I just I'm in love. I hate to gush. I know that's so obnoxious. Uh,
there's plenty of it in store they can come get.
yes, I have plenty of it in store. I am very excited. I guess I'm most excited about what happened to it when it blocked. So I wanted to talk a little bit tonight. You and I talked a little bit about this, and The real thing that sold me on the yarn was the fact that it's not a superwash. And that was a really conscious decision on your part. And
Yep.
that's part of why the bloom is so incredible.
Yep, absolutely. It has that memory. It has the life. For our Star Wars friends out there, it has the life force still in it. It hasn't been sucked out.
Right. I don't know that everybody really understands what happens to superwash wool, but superwash wool, before it's even spun into wool, gets a bleach bath to kind of eat away at those scales that are what caused the yarn to felt, and then all that stuff gets plastered down with a plastic resin to hold it in place, so even if you block it, those those scales, the fabric can't open up.
Yep.
No,
Yep.
it's it's just not fabulous.
It's
I
it's just like our hair in the humidity. It grows. And I mean that's what happens to the sheep. It grows on them. It absorbs that water and that humidity, and it does. It blooms and it grows beautifully. And I personally think that's one of the things that makes it fantastic as a non-superwash wool. So
I
um,
mean, I love that.
I will. So a lot of, not a lot, but some people tend to hear the words non-superwash and freak out that they've got to baby it, they've got to be super gentle with it. You need to really want to felt something to make it felt. Now, if your husband grabs your sweater and runs it through the washing machine, it's gonna felt.
Sure.
But just, your general use. I don't know if we talked about this in the interview, but when Kristen and I first started dyeing non-superwash yarns, we babied them. We were so worried we were gonna ruin them. Guys, I promise I am meaner to this yarn than you will be. I promise. Unless your husband puts it in the washing machine
Yeah.
and then the
Okay.
dryer.
So there are a couple things that and we're doing a big felting extravaganza this weekend, and a couple of the things that really cause yarn and knitting to felt are going from hot to cold. Okay, and agitating it a lot while it's wet. So those two things together are what makes wool felt. And this will felt. This absolutely will felt if
It will.
like you say, if it goes in the washer. But it's so easy to care for non-superwash wool. It's not that different from what you're probably doing with your sweaters already. I mean, how
Right.
many of you really put them in the washer and dryer? Not that many folks.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I'm loving it. Let's talk a little bit about so let's put it in 100 gram. I have the 100 gram skein. So there are three different sizes. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, so there's three different sizes. There's the little 25-gram petites. Is what I have in front of me here.
So
And
25 grams, think of that as a quarter of a sock weight. If you've got a hank like I first showed, it's a quarter of that.
yep. And we did that so you can get, lots of little goodies. So this is the equivalent of a full skein of yarn here.
Right.
Not quite, because I have dipped into these, but you know what I mean. So these are the petites. They're quarter skeins. You have the classics, the 100 grams, and then we have the super skeins that are 400 grams. So 4 of those 100-gram skeins that you have, just to open up the possibility of a sweater with one skein of yarn. So that's obviously not going to work for everybody, but it works for a lot of people, and they're just fun to carry. Like, they're fun to squish. So imagine the squish in that skein you have with the skein the size of my head. They just bounce. They're great. They're fun.
It is a fun thing. And I didn't get that put up because I was worried about, if you needed like one more. And your point was, well, if you needed one more, then you would get a full skein plus a classic skein. And, since the dye lot is 4 skeins anyway, you need that. So that made really great sense when you said that. So I'll
Yeah,
probably be getting some of the big ones because I think it is so fun to just say, how many skeins does it take? Well, it just takes one.
just one big guy. Yep.
Yeah. And I think this is going to be super wearable. Maybe not in the middle of August, but definitely 3 season.
Yeah, I mean, did you try on the t-shirt version, the short sleeve I sent you?
To be honest, I that box came and I left the next day, so I didn't
Okay.
have a chance to try any of
Well,
it
it's on
on.
its way back to you. I shipped it yesterday along with several samples for you.
Yay!
So
So we're
yeah,
going to
I
have a
mean,
trunk show for that, and I'll
yeah,
have that in the newsletter and probably do a podcast about it.
yeah. So that, I mean, you should have that in store by this weekend.
Okay.
I mean, I shipped it yesterday, so
Yeah, that'll be great.
yeah. So that should be in store for folks coming in this weekend. And there is a short sleeve. There's 2 short sleeve sweaters in there. And then I sent you the Traveler,
Okay.
which is a big kind of oversized sweater. And then what else did I send you? I sent you the cowl, the crochet cowl, and then I sent you the colorwork hat, the flicker and flame, because you stock Federbrook, right?
I do.
So that hat is made with Latta and Federbrook. So,
Oh, what a beautiful combination. I cannot wait.
yeah.
So, of course, fabulous Joe, has tried Latta. She loves
Of
it.
course she has.
I I just am very excited. I can see this for all kinds of accessories. Obviously, I'm seeing it for a sweater. For the classic, I mean, I think if you think in terms of the classic skeins, like we're all used to thinking about 100-gram skeins. So a 100-gram skein has 312 yards on it. So it's got a really generous yardage. And especially if you're knitting it at a DK or light worsted gauge, it's going to make a I mean, this one here at 5 to the inch, I mean, this second one here is 5 to the inch, this one is 4.5, and I mean, after the blocking, I think it looks really nice, and it really depends on the structure that you want for your fabric. Here it is at a very firm gauge, you
Mm-hmm.
know but I don't think there's not a single gauge here that I wouldn't wear, in a garment. I'm just so in love with it. And the colors are beautiful. They are now all on the website. So I'm excited about that. Talk about the palette that you picked and how you kind of did that.
How we did that. So we focus a lot on the fashion industry and wearability. Um, so we actually started with some of our most popular colors in other bases. So those of you who have ever seen our other bases, you'll probably recognize our Jam Session colorway, which is a bright, beautiful red color. That color is obviously on Latta. On Latta, we call it Scarlet. And then it's also on Coleman. I don't know if you still have any of it on Coleman, but it's called Cardinal on Coleman.
So beautiful.
So we went through some of our just tried and true, super popular colors that our customers love, and put that on Latta. And then we actually then went back to these palettes that we're doing. So these little minis, because we really wanted to make these little mini kits something that you didn't really need to think about, that we kind of pre-packaged these. So they're great for color work. So you take these 4 and then like a body color and you got a colorwork sweater. So we did a lot of pairing of those and putting those together, which really forced us to tweak several of our colors in the favorite gems pack. So we've got a new purple there. We've got a new teal there. We've got a new gold there to just make that palette really work. And then there was just some that needed to go in because they were just so beautiful when we tested them out. So a lot of it was trial and error, and then again coming back to our own wardrobes and what do we want to wear, what do we want to offer. So it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Well,
Um,
it works. I mean, the palette really works. I think it's just beautiful. It's got a nice mix of really wearable kind of neutrally tones plus the bright pops,
yep.
brilliant. Just brilliant. So, Barbara will be here this weekend. So, yay, I can't wait to see you, Barbara. Does anybody have any questions? Hey, Gwen. Hey, Barbara. Hey, Terry, Joe, Donna, Norma. Yay, nice to see you guys. Betty. If anybody has any questions about Latta that only Janice can answer, because I didn't make this. I'm just gushing about I rarely feel this way about a new yarn. I am so happy and confident in this yarn. Do you know what I mean? That's such a nice feeling for me as a yarn store owner. This is a yarn I feel so certain about. I can't wait to knit something in it. I'm going to make a sweater. Um, I'm going to probably make it in the you're going to laugh. I'm going to make it in the magnolia color. Um, because I'm boring, but I just think it's a beautiful yarn, and it's like you say, it's going to show stitch work really well. So super excited
Yeah.
about it. Um, let's talk a little bit about the whole American made concept, right?
Mhm.
You were saying that this is, and the label, it's sort of funny. It says 100% merino slash rambouillet, but it doesn't have like an amount of this and that. So we talked about it in the interview, but I would love it if you could share with everybody a little bit about that.
So the reason we don't have a percentage on it is because there's no way to know. This yarn comes from the Pacific Northwest, and as animals do, they mix. So it is a mix of merino, rambouillet, and then some of the sheep are merino rambouillet mixes themselves. So there's no way to know what the mixture is. Um, so I think that makes it fun.
I absolutely do too, and I love that it's American made. I love that it's traceable. This, the mill, the place where what do they call it? Not the shepherd. I guess it is the shepherds. Yeah, but the
Yep.
people who are growing the sheep, that are raising the sheep, that are husbanding them, and you know, that they've been well cared for, and I think that's just so so wonderful. Um, I do want to show everybody again just how pretty this this is. I was gushing a little, but can you see the difference now that it's been blocked? So even and smooth. And a lot of times people think that non-superwash wool is going to be fuzzy or uneven or not have good stitch definition. And that is not the case at all here. It is so beautiful. And can you see the subtle tonal qualities that you get from it being hand dyed?
Yep.
So, so pretty. So super jazzed about that. So
Yeah.
yay.
All right. Well, I'm gonna run. Are there any
Okay.
questions that I can answer before I go?
I'm not seeing any questions up there, but anyway, Janice, I really appreciate you being such a good sport and popping in like this. So
No
I know you
problem.
have a whole bunch of people that want to spend time with you too. So thanks so much for being here.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yep.
I can't wait to see what everybody's reaction is. And like I said, you should have those samples in just a few days. They shipped out yesterday, so
All
um,
right.
yeah, I'm excited to see all of the photos of everybody trying them on.
Yep. That's what we'll do. All right. Thanks so much.
And I want to
Okay.
see the gray one on you.
Yes, ma'am.
All
All
right,
right.
bye, Ellen.
Bye. So wasn't that fun? I love her. She is so fun. And I mean, the fact that I like emailed her at, I'm not even sure what time it was. It was maybe 5 5:30, and she was so agreeable to just pop in. It would just really was really nice of her. She is one of those people, and Queen City Yarns is one of those companies that I really like doing business with because they are woman owned, really pleasant to be with, pleasant to work with. You feel good about supporting them. So, yay. So, I'm super excited about Latta, and I hope you are as well. Let's see, we did have some questions here. Domestic. What is the name of the yarn? Okay, so the name of the yarn is Latta. I'm going to put that in the chat here. Latta. And we didn't talk about that tonight with Janice at all, but we had talked about it in the interview. Queen City Yarn is from South Carolina. South Carolina, North Carolina. But Latta is a name that's a big name in that community. So apparently the Latta family sponsored a lot of things and invested a lot in the area. And all of their yarns are named for, the community that they're from. So I love that very much. It's Latta. So that is the name of the yarn. What's Polly have to say? Looks like such a great, yes, isn't it great? I'm just so impressed with the way the yarn looks at all of the different gauges. And I'm really glad that I took that before and after picture. Here is the before. Let's see. Nope, that's not it. This is the before. So this is the before, right? And then this is the after, the blocking. And I did a steam block on that. So I think it looks amazing. Yeah, the yarn is absolutely beautiful. Hey, Susie. Hey, Lori. Quick question. Let's see. Would be nice to use for cables. Cables, yes, cabled patterns. It would be absolutely beautiful in cabled patterns. And I don't have, although Janice put together, a list of patterns and things, and it's really great. You can look at the Queen City on Ravelry, and they have bundles that they have where they recommend different patterns for the different yarns that they have, which is really great. But honestly, you have a lot of flexibility here. As always, if you are knitting at a looser than normal gauge, you're going to get more wear on it, meaning it is going to show wear more readily. The tighter that you knit your fabric, the sturdier the fabric is, the looser that you knit it, the more it's going to rub against each other because it's not held together. So the more pilling and the more wear that you're going to see in it. But depending on what you're looking for, beautiful, beautiful at all of the gauges. So it is interesting how it looked when I knitted on a 2 at 6.5 stitches to the inch. So I thought that was super interesting. Yeah, and it's a really decent price, I think, for the quality of the yarn and the fact that it's hand dyed. And so I'm excited about it. I'm pretty jazzed about this yarn. And so you can look, I will probably be doing for everyone, I will be doing another custom fit class for the fall, and I will be using this yarn for it. And I'll probably be knitting it at a DK weight gauge. I've already got my new little swatch that I'm putting together. I'm doing a big swatch, as I always recommend. So, and I'm working this on a 6. So I'm thinking that I will knit a sweater in this yarn at a gauge of 5.5 stitches to the inch. So we'll see how that goes. And if that's something that interests you, I will absolutely love to have you in that class coming up in the fall. In the meantime, look for the trunk show will do, I'll either do a video, probably won't do a live on it, but I will do a video showing everybody wearing the different sweaters, and then you'll have a chance to see how the yarn looks in the different sweaters and how the sweaters look on different bodies, which is always fun. So all right. Well, that is what I have for you this evening. And I hope that you have enjoyed seeing Latta as much as I have. And if you have a chance to come into the shop and you would like to see it in person, I welcome you to be here. It's also on the website. And I'm going to see if I can't put together some kind of a way to allow you to purchase a little tiny swatch of it, so that if you're interested in just swatching it ahead of time and playing with it, that you can do that too. But it's always nice to be able to just get a skein and play with it a little bit and see what you think. So we'll do that. Okay, well, thank you very much. And I look forward to seeing you next time. In the meantime, keep knitting and create something beautiful. I'll see you later.